Great to be back with you for the round 3 preview with all thanks to Dabble, a shortened NBL round this week. We've got Melbourne United and South East Melbourne involved in NBA games against the Pelicans, which means that we can really dive in on the games that matter here in the NBL. I'm Jack Heverin. Dabble's number one man, Pete Hooley, is alongside me. Hools, let's start with Thursday Night Hoops. The Taipans playing host to the 36ers.
This is going to be fun. $2 million men going at it. Jack McVeigh and Bryce Cotton, both coming off outstanding weekends last week. I mean, Bryce Cotton dropping 40 points on the Brisbane Bullets. McVeigh a near triple-double in their first win and then carried them to a big win against Sydney. So this is going to be fun. Again, defense optional for both of these teams, which is always enjoyable. But I tell you what, Cairns, the rank outsiders here. I think that's because of the Adelaide roster and what we saw last week. But that is some juice for the Taipans right there. On their home floor, feeling good about themselves. Andrew Andrews has now had some rest into his legs. That's some real juice from the Taipans.
So the obvious question, how do they stop Bryce Cotton?
Well, you don't do it on your own. I think Adam Ford's one who's going to understand, you know what, we'll try our best, but he's also the type to say, you know, if we can limit everybody else and let Bryce do his thing, we'll be happy with that. So I think you kind of got to go into it understanding we're not going to stop the 5-time MVP. Let him go for 50, but if we keep everyone else for 20, we can score more than 70.
I know you said there's juice, but is there enough juice for you to tip the Taipans in this one?
I think there is. I really do. I think Andrew Andrews, he suffered from severe cramps last week. There wasn't enough pickle juice in the world that could have got him off that because he just touched down, went straight to playing 2 tough games. The way they're built now with McVeigh, Rainsmith, Schofield, I like this matchup against an Adelaide team that really doesn't play defense. We only saw them in one game, but I like the Taipans in this one.
It's a fun way to start the round. Doubleheader for Thursday Night Hoops to start round 3. It's an open air game as well. RAC Arena will peel the roof back, weather permitting, as the Wildcats play host to the Illawarra Hawks, and JaVale McGee goes head-to-head with Jolawala Chul.
This is going to be fun. A heavyweight matchup in the centre position. Both guys play very different. JLA is a point guard trapped in a big man's body. He'll put the ball on the floor. JaVale McGee, one of the best debuts we've seen of all time in the NBL last weekend, albeit in a loss. I'm fascinated to see how this one plays out. I can understand the odds here. The Wildcats, I'm high on the whole season. They just got over the line against New Zealand. They looked poor in the fourth quarter to start with, came home strong. So I can understand why the odds are the way they are, but I still think they should get it done on their home floor.
See, that's an interesting one. I know they're at home, and they are 2 teams who still feel like they're works in progress, but that's a nice offering from Dabble. $2.30 for the defending champions with JaVale McGee. That's juicy.
It is, but again, one thing to prepare yourself for. This is an open-air game. I've played in 3 of them. There is a such thing as a wind swell that comes down on the bottom of the court in a stadium, which means if you're not an absolute knockdown shooter, which I definitely wasn't, You've got to make sure you get your head on the rim and get some layups. So if you feed JLA, feed McGee, the scoreboard will tick over. But the Hawks have more shooters they need to rely on. So keep that in mind if you're having a punt on this one.
So you're with the Wildcats?
Got to go with the home team. I think they're going to be strong.
This is going to be a very, very interesting game. Perth and Illawarra with the roof open Thursday night at RAC. Well, it's fair to say it was a shocker from the Sydney Kings last weekend. Their first performance at home at Kudos Bank Arena against the Cairns Taipans was not a good one, but they've got the chance to make amends when they host the New Zealand Breakers this weekend. Pete, they just have to be better.
I mean, the Breakers can't catch a break right now, no pun intended, but they were in the mix. They were up by 10 in the fourth quarter and fell apart to the Wildcats. They need to get on the board, but the Sydney Kings, I fully expect them to come out firing. It'll be a tough week practice-wise. That's not the way they wanted to begin their season. Kendrick Davis did his best to try and get them across the line. Their worst 3-point shooting performance since 2022.
Was it 4 of 29?
I think Brian Goorjian's saying, we can't possibly shoot that poorly again. So they're going to be feeling good about themselves, but the Breakers will be hungry. I just think there's more firepower in the home team.
So Kendrick Davis, Parker Jackson-Cartwright, that matchup's going to be tantalising. You do look at Xavier Cooks, though, if you're a Sydney Kings supporter, and you think, I don't know that the Breakers have got anyone that can stop him.
No, I don't think they do. I think Xavier Cooks is set for a massive game in this one. He was very quiet last week, and there was a lot of stuff online about what's happening with Xavier Cooks. It's one game. Let's calm down. I'm expecting the former MVP to lead from the front here. KD and PJC is worth the price of admission because I think PJC will guard KD, but I don't think KD will guard PJC. I think he'll give that to Delhi, so KD could be set for a big game as well.
They are at home, and there are a lot of things that need to improve. Are you with the Kings this weekend?
Hard to go past the Kings unless the Breakers show us something more, so you can understand why the price is the way it is.
No doubt about that. Let's take a look at the Brisbane Bullets and the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. $1.90 a piece, Pete. I guess a lot of that has to do with the JJ's injuries. First, it was David Johnson, Now it's Majuk Dang. They're up against it a little bit.
Yeah, and they've gone out and said they're going to get reinforcements. They won't be here for this game, which you can understand. They're a bit thin in certain positions. That's why you're getting $1.90 a piece for the Brisbane Bullets, who are going to have their home opener. They've had some guys on some injury clouds with some ankle injuries, and Sam McDaniel and Javon Freeman-Liberty. But this will be fun. You've got Tyrell Harrison, who's going to be in the NBA next year, so enjoy him while he's in the NBL, and Will Magno, who might be joining him. And they're going to go head-to-head. If I have to pick anyone, though, it's hard to go past the Jack Jumpers. They've just something about this team, the culture, the grit and determination that could get them over the line.
If you're the sort of punter that likes to follow form, then these guys on the road this year, they're the ones to watch. They've gone to Perth and beaten Perth. They've gone to Illawarra and beaten Illawarra. It doesn't get much better than that.
And don't forget, they started the season with a very, very close loss at home to Melbourne United, who are flying right now. So based on that, you'd have to give the Jack Jumpers the nod. What I am worried about is if Sam McDaniel, who is the premier defender for the Brisbane Bullets, isn't 100% ready to go, they've got no one else who can defend. And they gave up 40 to Bryce Cotton last week. Bullets could give up 50 to Bryce Hamilton this week. Ooh. Bryce Hamilton is a stud. I'm worried about that. But right now, the Jack Jumpers have my eyes.
We haven't had a 50-piece so far this season. That'd be nice, and that would be a nice way to finish off the weekend. Massive thanks for joining us on our NBL weekend preview with thanks to Dabble. Halls, you enjoy your weekend as well.
You too, mate.
We'll catch you next time.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.